Oh, you know what time it is. You know what time it is. It's time to recap Super Bowl 57. The Kansas City Chiefs take down the Philadelphia Eagles in what was a very exciting game. You could give me the anticlimactic stuff about the holding call, and it allowed the Chiefs to chew up the rest of the clock. Smartly, McKinnon went down, didn't chew it up all the way, didn't go get that easy touchdown to give Hurts and them a chance to run it back. But we got an exciting game nonetheless, and we can talk about how these two teams are very, very close. These two teams are very stacked in terms of the trenches, in terms of the offensive lines. Both offensive lines are top tier, and they showed that. Both defensive lines had stalwarts on both sides of the balls that were more or less neutralized in this game. Both teams had an unstoppable weapon in terms of whether it was a wide receiver with the Eagles or a tight end with the Chiefs that were still somewhat neutralized. And both quarterbacks played well, up to their expectations, up to their level, except one is just that much better. Patrick Mahomes moved the bar yesterday in Arizona. Patrick Mahomes allowed all the arguments to cease. Don't tell me anything more about Joe Burrow. Don't tell me anything about Josh Allen, Jay Herbo, Justin Herbert. I don't want to hear anything. Hell, even Lamar. Nasty man Deshaun Watson. I don't want to hear a thing about any other quarterback that's playing right now in the National Football League. And I don't want to hear about any others that are coming down the pipeline. Caleb Williams, salute. But no. There's only one. And he put it to bed last night because he was the difference. Having one of those made all the difference between having a good year, having a good ensemble cast, and being able to out-talent people. But at the end of the day, when you give that type of player, a A1 top-tier player, a good offensive line, an unguardable tight end, and you have the offensive geniuses cooking it up in Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy so that they can scheme open Skylar Moore in the Super Bowl. Yeah, that's the difference. When you have one of those Mahomes, you can let go of a Tyreek Hill. When you have a Patrick Mahomes, you don't have to run out there and mortgage your future and try to go get a replacement for Tyreek Hill. You can spin a block and say, all right, we'll do it with a Juju. We'll go get a Van Der Scoutling. We'll go holler at the Giants and go get Kadarius Toney. We'll make Jerick McKinnon, who was a quarterback, we'll go make him a running back, scat back. Edwards-Helaire was inactive. The Chiefs were able to do all of this without Tyreek Hill. They learned their lesson from 2 Super Bowls ago against the Bucs. Offensive line was Basura, and even though Patrick Mahomes was willing to go parallel to the ground to try to make it happen, it wasn't enough. They got embarrassed on the big stage. Old man Brady was able to trick one more off. His last one, allegedly. It now can be said. And this is a new thing for me because I'm always talent over scheme guy. Give me the team with the most talent. I don't care what you cook up. Well, either one of two things happened. Either the talent that we thought Philly had wasn't what we thought it was, or the scheme that Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid cooked up was so elite that even the top-tier talent that the Philadelphia Eagles possessed was no match for. You let me know which one it is, because that's where it becomes a thing for me, is I need to navigate. How did the Kansas City Chiefs, who do not have the talent the Philadelphia Eagles have, If you look at that roster, 1-53, and line them up, you're taking way more Philadelphia Eagles than you are Kansas City Chiefs. But there's one spot you know you're not doing that. And that was the one spot. And maybe even two, because now I might have thrown maybe even three. Might have thrown in coach and OC. You know you're not taking Jalen Hurts over Patrick Mahomes. Now you're probably definitely taking Andy Reid over your man Sirianni. And Eric Bieniemy is him. And Andy Reid made sure to give him his flowers in the post game. And that's something hopefully these other owners and GMs can finally get over whatever big bugaboo they have about Eric Bieniemy. There's been teeth thrown out here that he's not a good interviewer. He's not a good interview. Apparently he tricks them off every chance he gets with a owner, with a front office group. He's not a good interview. Well, would you rather have Mike McCarthy, who lied in his interview with Jerry Jones, but still won the interview and thus got the gig? Or would you rather give it to Eric Bieniemy, who maybe isn't the best interview, but man, if you just give him a chance, look what he can do. You tell me what it is. Let me know. Because to me, I'd much rather have Eric Bieniemy than a Mike McCarthy. I'm going to pull up some tweets here as we break down this game. This game was such a... It made you think at times it was going to be a shootout. It made you also think at times the Eagles were on the cusp of blowing this thing wide open, but yet neither thing happened. I don't equate this game to being a shootout, and damn sure the Eagles didn't run away and hide in this game. Even with a 10-point lead going into the half, and seemingly with Mahomes with re-injuring that ankle, it seemed to be all she wrote for the Kansas City Chiefs. But with a half an hour halftime, thanks to Riri floating above 6 months prego, we back at it. Mahomes and them were back at it, and they were able to get back in the mix and chip away, and then they were just unbeatable on offense in the second half. They ran the same play for a touchdown twice. Philly wasn't ready for it either time. We will get there. Trust and believe. There's so much here to dissect. There's so much here to get through. Let me make sure I get everything lined up here, because we are definitely going to chop all these fables down, because there was a lot of talk about what was going on social media. There was a lot of talk about what was going on in terms of after the game, and what do you need to make that call? If you didn't call in the first half, do you make it in the second half? All of that, we don't got no time for that, okay? We don't have no time for that. Let's go ahead and see what we can get into in terms of pulling up these tweets. And there's certain things that stand out right away. It was a tale of two halves. You hear that phrase a lot, but when it comes right down to it, this game, more so than any other, really was a tale of two halves. So let's start there. How was it a tale of two halves? Well, let's go. You see this here. Your man's Ed Water. He was on the Elon app, and he's giving you good information here. Zoom that in for y'all. So we can all read this together. Chiefs in the second half, 0 penalties, 0 turnovers, 0 punts, 0 sacks allowed, 1 incompletion, which was a throwaway. Let that sink in. You talk about flawless. You talk about perfect. The second half for the Kansas City Chiefs was just that. Down 10 with the rock, you come right out, and in the entire second half, no penalties, no turnovers, no punts, no sacks allowed, 1 incompletion, which was a throwaway. That's elite. That's elite, and that's a 1 of 1. And that's a Patrick Mahomes. That's having a Patrick Mahomes. And look, man, there's going to become a point, and I've talked about it a while. I don't want to hear about Burrow. I don't want to hear about Josh Allen. I don't want to hear about Jay Herbo or any of these guys. We also need to start talking about that Pantheon, because this is, 5 straight AFC championship games. This is 4 Super Bowls. He's won 3 Super Bowls, excuse me. And he's won 2 out of 3 Super Bowls already. And who says they can't run this back? In the alleged rebuild year, who says that team with that quarterback and that coach and that OC for now can't run this back. I'm not going to say Tyreek Hill was holding them back. Maybe now they're harder to defend because you're worried about Kelsey. Worried about Kelsey. Then it was Kelsey and Hill. You're throwing bracket coverage, doing all that type of stuff. Now it's, all right, well, we're worried about Kelsey. Well, no, we're just going to find different ways to scheme him open. And even if you get wind of that, you're just opening up Andy Reid's mind, Eric Bieniemy's strategy, and Patrick Mahomes' ability to dissect you with all these others, okay? You go ahead and think you're stymieing Kelsey. Cool story. Now I'm going to hit you with Valdez-Scantling. Now, we know on the surface, isolated doesn't mean that much, but I give him elite play callers and elite schemers and Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy and an immortal quarterback and Patrick Mahomes. Oh, now Valdez-Scantling looks to be something. He can flash. Kadarius Toney, traded for you. You came over here. You got hurt. You've been, erratic. You break, damn near almost return a punt for 6. Would have been the first ever in Super Bowl history. Then you go and you score on a fake jet sweep. They made something out of nothing. They made these guys that were just jettisoned by other teams, and they were able to do things with them that apparently these teams couldn't figure out. Isaiah Pacheco's a 7th round pick, drawing comparisons to the late Marion Barber. And now he's trucking people in the Super Bowl. I mean, it was really, really impressive. What they were able to do was so impressive that it doesn't bar for words, but it's just, I don't think people understood what they saw last night, because this tweet, this statistical breakdown encapsulates everything of what the Chiefs had to do to crawl back into this game. There's always a conversation of, we have to play perfect football. We're trying to go out there and play the perfect game. And we're trying to carry it to a point of, this is what it takes to win. We want flawless execution, right? The Chiefs did that in the second half. They were down 10. Mahomes went in there, and who knows, Lord knows what they shot that man up with over them 29 minutes at half. But he came out there and was not only able to control the pace of the game when he was finally given the rock after only having it for 8 minutes in the first half. He was finally able to do what he does best. And then he was even able late in the game to scramble. High ankle sprain, re-aggravating ankle sprains, be damned. Still able to take off and go get big chunk yards when it mattered most. This is elite. I want y'all to understand what you witnessed last night. And you could be a Philly guy. You could have had money on the Eagles. I had money on the Eagles. I ain't had big money on the Eagles. I made my money already off the Eagles, so I was not trying to spin the block on that or double or nothing. That I was good. But what we witnessed last night cemented for me that I'm not going to bet against him again. Nope, I'm good. Something about it for me always said, but they got Mahomes. That was always the caveat. When you have the best player in the league at the most important position in the sport, how is he an underdog? And he's drawing all these comparisons where, shout out to Bomani. Bomani calls him Jordan. Dame Lillard was making the rounds. He's calling him Steph Curry. He's just Mahomes. He's going to be of that level to where there's no, he's the Jordan of this or he's the Steph Curry of that. No. Learn the name. He's going to be one of those names where that's Mahomes. We're going to be looking to find the next him in 15, 20, 30 years and saying, oh, That's the next Mahomes. He's the Mahomes of the NBA. That's to where it's going to be, because Jordan didn't have this level of success early. Jordan didn't run off chips. It took about 8-9 years to get his first ring. Steph Curry, same thing. It took a minute to get his first ring. This is different. This isn't done in the NFL. This is not done in the NFL. You can give the Tom Brady comparisons because Brady got chips early, but he was not the reason why they got those chips. This Mahomes things, they're winning chips because of him. Primarily, exclusively because of him. That's the difference. That's why he's not the next Tom Brady. That's why he's not the next Joe Montana. That's why he's not the next Jordan or the Jordan of the NFL. That's why he's not the Steph Curry of the NFL. He's just Mahomes. This is a new tier. Get used to it. Get used to it. Let's move on, man. This thing is rolling. This thing is rolling, and it was special. It was special last night. Stats and info. There was a great tweet they had. Is this the tweet? Well, this is part of it, right? Make sure I can see this. Eagles last night joined the 2016 Falcons as the only teams in Super Bowl history to lose when leading at halftime by double digits. Now, not as bad as those Falcons, not no 28-3, but still, you were up 10. It seemed like your offense could not be stopped unless it stopped itself, like Jalen Hurts with the fumble. It's as great as Jalen Hurts looked, as great as the Eagles looked offensively, is how bad the Eagles defense looked. The Eagles defense let down that team yesterday. And I've talked about how their weaknesses to me was in the linebacking core. People were selling me all year about this secondary, and I was like, all right, I'm going to take your word for it, but I know that D-line was supposed to be top tier. That D-line was supposed to be A1, and they showed that getting to this point. And even though they had the easiest schedule in the league with the rest of the entire NFC East, even though they had a relatively easy path to get to the Super Bowl, I still believe in the fact that if you have those types of D linemen, where you're rolling out 8 different guys, 2 sets of front fours that can get after it, okay, I believe you. I'm not too concerned about the linebacking core that's a little sus. I'm not concerned about the DBs that may in a big spot give it up. But that's exactly what happened last night. The linebacking core couldn't. Now, Kelsey didn't kill him, but he was enough of a factor to where they had to pay attention to him. 8 for 81. At least he got over on receiving yards. So if you had that, you cashed. But in regards to, there were some people that thought he was going to be a monster. And he wasn't a monster, but he was still Kelsey. He was still him. He was still a threat. And on both of those 2 touchdowns, which was the same play, identical, just they flipped it, both times the Eagles sent double coverage towards Kelsey, and that left the eventual touchdown recipient wide open both times. So even though Kelsey didn't put up monster Kelsey numbers like he has on this run to the Super Bowl, him garnering enough attention in the first half, enough stats in the first half, allowed them to make sure they key on him in the second half and to open things up on the back end for both of those 2 touchdown scores. So say what you will, it's the Eagles defense, to me, are the ones that take a hit here. The Eagles defense takes a hit. And they had this bend but don't break thing during the midpoint of the year, and I got worried about them. That's when I started doing this live stream and doing the football kickback. But they kind of got back to business once they got their D linemen back and healthy. And I thought, oh, okay, they're good now. They're good now. They'll be able to navigate this. But no, this offensive line, what the Chiefs were, I think I have this stat here. Who had? I think Mina Kimes had it. Let's see if we can find it real quick. If not, I know it off top. They had the number 1 passing offensive line. There we go. Boom. Wow. Scrolled right to it. Chiefs O-line is really good. First in pass blocking win rate all season long. So you have a top tier defensive line, that can, get after it with 8 guys. You can keep guys fresh. You can keep rotating in and out. And that was thought to be, going to be the difference. That was going to be one of the main factors. I did a YouTube short on it and everything, where the main matchup I was going to pay attention to was, can the Chiefs offensive line get a grip on the Eagles defensive line? That to me was going to be the story of the game. Because I knew the Eagles offensive line was going to take care of the Chiefs defensive line when it mattered most, and they showed that. So they performed up to their level. The issue that we were trying to figure out and that we were a little skeptical about was, can the Chiefs live up to their level? And as you see here from the stat that Mina Kimes has, is that #1 in pass blocking win rate all season long, and they damn sure played that part last night. When you have as bad as that offensive line looked against Tampa, when you have that great of a quarterback, when you have that elite of a quarterback, when you have a potential immortal, franchise shifting, league shifting type quarterback, and Patrick Mahomes, he's throwing passes parallel to the ground, they realized, we can't just put it all on him. Yeah, we gave him Tyreek Hill. We got him Travis Kelce. We got running backs, a plethora, but we let him down in the O-line. Okay, we're going to go trade for Orlando Brown. We're going to go draft all these guys and just bring them in and coach them up. And Tyreek, okay, you really want the bag? All right, we really don't got time for that because we got one of those. We got a Mahomes. So we can't make another you, but we don't necessarily need a you as long as we got a Mahomes. And that was solidified. That was proven. That was Exhibit A last night. We let Tyreek Hill go. We picked up Valdez-Scantling, Juju Smith-Schuster, Kadarius Toney during the season, and still got a chip because Patrick Mahomes is him. So we need to protect him at all costs. So we need to now reinvest in that offensive line. And that's what the Chiefs did, and that's what they were able to get back to the Super Bowl. And not only when they get back to the Super Bowl, they were able to, as we see here, first in pass blocking win rate all season, but also, if we go back to the Ed Werder tweet, 0 sacks allowed in the second half. 0. Sure, there was some hurries, and Mahomes had to scramble, dump it off. Either the one incompletion was a throwaway. But in regards to, was he under siege like he was against Tampa? No. He was chilling in the pocket. When he needed to chill, when he needed time, he got time. And because of whatever they gave him at halftime, the very few times he was under pressure, he was able to get out of the pocket and make something happen, including big chunk yardage late in fourth. So, Bum Phillips, your man Spencer Hall, he had a tweet with some more information, and he tweets too much. Where is his tweet? He had a really good tweet. Okay, here we go. The Chiefs had 21 first downs on 53 plays. Understand that. 21 first downs on 53 plays. And this is after they only got the rock 8 minutes the first half. 8 minutes in the first half. I don't think people are understanding what they saw and how special of a performance from top to bottom that was last night. That was a top tier performance. That was a special performance that we got to witness with the Chiefs offense. The Chiefs offense, again, because the Chiefs defense, none of us thought they were going to, they made a couple of stops, sure. But in regards to that team is carried by its offense. That team is known because of its offense. And that offense was effectively limited and kept out the game. The defense made a play. They got the touchdown in the first half, capitalizing on Jalen Hurts just seemingly just dropping the ball. And then they housed it, took it to the crib. But in regards to how that team got there, it's because of Patrick Mahomes. Don't want to hear nothing about no Joe Burrow, man. I don't want to hear nothing about no Josh Allen. No Justin Herbert, not even no Aaron Rodgers. I'm hearing nothing about it. The conversation number one receiver, now he's done one where he's had not even a real number two receiver. He won a Super Bowl with not even a number two receiver. I mean, come on, man. At some point, it's just like, well, what do you want? What more does he have to do? What more does he have to do? I'll come back on the screen because I want to set up this next section here. I mean, let me know in the comments. Hopefully, those who are pulling up, just hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed already, hit that subscribe. My name is Sam Dusmay Jr., a.k.a. The Sam D. I do sports commentary. I'm also a media consultant, and I've been doing live streams for the bulk of this entire NFL season. So this will be the wrapping up of my coverage on the NFL season, recapping the football kickback, recapping last night's Super Bowl 57. The Chiefs take down the Philadelphia Eagles. Patrick Mahomes, his second Super Bowl and his second Super Bowl MVP. How many will he get? Can he keep this on? They got an offensive line now. They don't even have a running game. Pacheco's a nice running back. I don't know. I mean, for this offense, he might be all that they need. But in regards to, if they had more weapons, imagine this team with actual weapons. Imagine if this team goes back and goes out and gets an actual number one receiver. Imagine if this team goes out and gets like a bona fide top tier running back. But when you have a Patrick Mahomes, maybe you don't need that. When you have a guy that, as I mentioned earlier in the live stream, and if you join us, welcome, salute. Let me know in the comments. Was that holding call holding? Or should that call have been called there when it wasn't called earlier in the game? Because Bradbury had did that in the first half, and he got away with it. So he tried to run it back, biggest spot of the game, and he got caught. So are we shading the officials for that? Or Bradbury for thinking he could get it off twice? I don't know. Y'all let me know. But the fact of the matter is, when you have one of these, when you have a guy, as soon as the screen will let me, I'll bring it up. Andy Reid. Make sure y'all can read it. Make sure, scroll up, boom. Without saying anything, Patrick Mahomes strives to be the greatest player ever. And man, it was interesting to see. Interesting to see, man, because let me go to the comments. Derpy, what's up, man? Thank you for pulling back up. Appreciate you. Let's get your comment on the screen here. Give me a sec. There we go. Oh, you're a Steelers fan. As a Steelers fan, that was BS. So the holding call was BS. So, all right, Derpy, let me ask you. So clearly it was holding, right? Like he held the jersey, right? So are you saying it's BS that they called it when he didn't call in the first half, or just the call itself is BS? Mahomes got that call because he's the next golden guy of the NFL after Brady was. I could see how that could be the narrative. I don't know where the proof is of that. Like, I just don't know where the proof is of that, to be quite honest with you. Like that call wasn't made in the first half. If anything, Mahomes needed help in the first half when they were down 10 going into the break. Like that call being made in the first half might have actually gave the Chiefs to have the ball more than 8 minutes. So I don't know. Like, if he would have got the call both times, then to me, all right, there's more validity to the argument. But the fact that they didn't get that call in the first half, but they got in the second half, I don't know how that makes Mahomes the golden child. If you're the golden child, you get all the calls. You get all the calls. Superstars get calls the entire game, not just in the fourth quarter. Okay. Derpy's back. He cried for a call though when it mattered. I mean, look, name me a QB that doesn't. We've seen all these QBs get demonstrative when they don't get a call. Like, look, you're a Steelers fan. You tell me Big Ben never lobbied for a call? Don't do that. Don't do that. You know, Big Ben used to lobby for calls all the time. He thought, you know, AB was getting held every chance he got an incompletion. It must have been somebody was holding him. So, I mean, I think you're not a top tier QB. I mean, we've seen trash QBs even lobby for calls. So I don't think that merits that. Most QBs in that spot, especially of a game of this magnitude, you're going to lobby for your guy to get a call. So let's go back to the comments. Which is why it's a good case because Brady. I mean, look again. I don't know an elite QB. I mean, if we're talking elite QBs, they all lobby for calls. Brady does it. Oh, come on! You telling me Big Ben never got a call? He lobbied for calls and never got it. I mean, come on, Derby. I'm here to rock with you, man. But I mean, I don't know if I could co-sign that. You're gonna have to give me some receipts on that. Show me a few times where Big Ben lobbied for a call in the big spot and never got it. Like I know there was definitely some PIs in some of those Steelers Ravens games, some of those Steelers Bengals games that mattered back in the day. Like there had to be a few calls where Ben lobbied and was able to get a call on Heath Miller, be able to get a call for AB. Like, come on, man. Come on. So I think where we're trying to go with the conversation, and I'm please continue in the comments. I'm here. You know, I don't duck any questions. I don't duck any analysis. We can go back and forth. I love it. What we saw from Patrick Mahomes, man, to me, this is top tier. And you know, whether you think he got calls because he's been anointed, you got to be good enough to be anointed. And I think instead of everyone saying, you know, is he Brady? Is he Rodgers? You know, we got people comparing him to NBA players. He's going to be the Jordan of the NFL. He's like Steph Curry of the NFL. He's none of those. He's just Patrick Mahomes. He's just him. Like, that's going to be the name now. He's just Mahomes. He's Pat Mahomes. That's it. I don't need to make him the Jordan of anything. I don't need for him to be the Steph Curry of anything. He's Patrick Mahomes. That name is now going to be synonymous with top tier quarterback play. And some of y'all favorites are going to be pushed down by the time he's done. It's going to be like Kareem with the whole LeBron thing. Like Kareem is that guy. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is that guy to a lot of people. But now LeBron is here. We're going to move that guy down. And as the years go on, we're going to keep moving these guys down. This is evolution. We're witnessing evolution in real time. Go back to the comments. Derpy's fired up. I'm here for it. Got those years. But overall career standpoint, Brady got him. Hey, I mean, look, Brady got calls. I'm not going to sit here and say Brady didn't get calls. I'm saying all top tier quarterbacks get calls. I don't think it's exclusive to one quarterback over others. I've seen Geno Smith lobby and get calls. Like, you know, that's the one thing doing this live streaming, coming on, you know, after all these games are done. Every Sunday I will come on, Sunday night leading into Sunday Night Football. I will come on here and recap the action of what we saw in the games, whether it's on the red zone, or if you're locked in on your favorite team, whatever. And I would have discourse with people left and right, and they would be complaining about all these quarterbacks lobbying for calls. Like I saw quarterbacks the entire year. Zach Wilson lobbied for calls and got them. Like I don't think it's exclusive to just you have to be a Tom Brady to get a call. The reason why we remember it in big games is because Tom Brady was usually in big games. I mean, this is a deflate gate. This isn't Spygate. We're talking about just normal lobbying for a call. I've seen top tier quarterbacks. I've seen mid tier quarterbacks. I've seen trash QBs. Sam Darnold has lobbied for calls this year and has gotten them. I just think he should be honest into the camera, saying, "I like to thank the Academy." I mean, look, man. If you think it was that serious, I'm not mad. I'm not mad at it. I'm here for the shade. I'm here for the hate. This is a safe space. I am trying to be objective as possible, but we can go left and talk some trash. I'm not mad at that. So if you think, and I can't find it now. I wish I had it pulled up, but there definitely was a couple of memes went around that had Mahomes with the Lombardi, with the reps in the background. So that definitely is a narrative that is spreading online. People are not happy about the way the Super Bowl 57 ended. I'm not mad at how it ended, even though I ended up losing a couple of bets because of it. I'm not mad at it. It's just, for me, it's look, that call was holding. If that was your favorite team's receiver and some dude is grabbing and hanging on the back of it, even if it throws him off ever so slightly, you want the ref to throw that flag. So if it was your favorite team, you would want that call too in that spot, especially in that spot. So imagine the other way around. Imagine the Chiefs lose that Super Bowl because they didn't throw the flag. So either way, one of the fan bases was going to be up in arms blaming the refs. Because if the Eagles win this game, if the ref holds on to the flag, doesn't throw it, let me come off the screen here. Let's really talk that talk. So let's imagine refs hold on to their flag. Eagles go down, get points, win the chip. Chiefs fans would be irate today because they already got screen caps of the first time that Bradbury held on to the jersey and it wasn't called. Now they would have had a second time in the fourth quarter, last drive of the game, where he did it again and got away with it. The fans would have been up in arms. So either way, one fan base was going to be pissed at the refs today. It just so happens it's the Eagles fan base because they threw it the second time. First time they held on to it. Maybe they didn't see it. We got to give them that grace, right? But that second time, they were locked in. It's the fourth quarter. It's the waning moments, possibly a game-winning drive, a championship-clinching drive. Okay, we locked in. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Like, either way, a fan base, because it was a close game, because of the fact it was a close game, that means that all of this matters. Everything is maximized even more. Like, yeah, somebody was going to be mad today. A fan base was going to be pissed off today. All right, Derpy, let me see. There's a difference in the playoffs and when it matters than the regular season. I mean, sure. In the playoffs, you're not going to get Zach Wilson and Geno Smith lobbying for calls because they're not going to be there. But in the playoffs, you're going to have a Dak Prescott, a Tom Brady. You're going to have all these QBs making and lobbying for calls. Like if Lamar was healthy, he would have been lobbying. Joe Burrow, I saw Joe Burrow lobby for calls. Josh Allen lobbied for calls. Like, that's what you do. That's part of the gig. Especially with these passing offenses are so predicated on timing. They're throwing the ball before guys are open. So they know if this guy runs this route unobstructed, he's supposed to be at that spot when that ball gets there. So if he's not there, if he's behind that throw, if I throw the ball and he's 2-3 yards away, something must have happened. Some contact must have been made. Some holding must have been made because we got our synced up. We got our timing so synced up that when I throw that ball to the numbers, he's supposed to be at the numbers. So the fact that I throw the ball to the numbers and he's nowhere close to the numbers, something must have happened. And that's what these quarterbacks do. They turn around and looking around like, what the hell happened? And then, receivers do their thing. They do their acting job as well. So it's all part of the game. I'm not going to sit here and make this think because that's like, we'll let it slide in the first half, but not in the second half. Like, I don't like that. If it's a foul in the first half, it's got to be a foul in the second half. Like, don't give me that. Like, I don't want to hear that. Like, no. Call the foul when it's there. If you're not going to call it, then that's one thing. If we're saying we're going to let y'all get away with it. You see that in basketball a lot. Where a game is called physical. The tone is set early. They're letting you get away with stuff. Then you know, okay, this is how the game's going to go. Or refs got quick whistles. Oh, it's going to be a touchy-feely game. Okay, it's going to be like that today. All right, let me ease up on the physicality. Let me ease up on, going after people. it doesn't always have to be that way. Like, you can really get after it and have a distinction of, is this a foul? Calls are missed. We all know that. Calls are missed. Let's go back to Derby. You ain't get back today. I'm just disappointed. Instead, the last two Super Bowls this year and last year both decided about calls. They probably need to be let go and not interfere. I mean, okay. Again, it's. I'm not. I'm not saying you're wrong, right? Like, you never want a game of this magnitude to come down to whether a ref or whether an official saw something or not, or feels like I need to call this or not. I think, though, ultimately, the players have to know better. In the fourth quarter of a game, if you're beat, you're beat. That's it. Like, sometimes you're just beat. Now, you can be beat and take the penalty, but that's where your IQ has to chime in. Like, is this the time to just, all right, I'm going to just take the flag? He was going to score a touchdown on that play. I'm going to just make a touchdown save and penalty. I'm going to just go ahead and knock this dude out or just tackle this guy in his route. No. He had me beat. I'm going to clip him. I'm going to do something to make sure. No. I'm not going to get beat. He's not going to score that touchdown. We'll give you the spot foul. It's okay. You know, same thing in basketball. Oh, this guy's about to go on a breakaway. Nope, not if it's up to me. Clear path foul, get him up out of here. You know, like, there's ways to go about it. But this narrative of, well, it's up to the refs, don't leave it up to the refs. Players are still the ones that have to go out there and make the plays. If the players are still the one that have to go out there and make the plays, then they have ample opportunity to assess and be like, is this the time to take this foul? Is this the time to be egregious and just take the foul and let's reset and get a new play call in here? But if you're trying to get away with something, if you're trying to tug the jersey and you're trying to keep up with somebody that's got you beat and you get called for tugging that jersey, then get caught, man. You're caught. And to his credit, Bradbury stuck up for that and admitted as such. He wore it. He wore it. And I respect that more than anything else. The fact that he was able to wear it, you know, is one thing for me, because that's where, and I'm trying to pull up some more tweets here because there's some more information I really want to get into in regards to this game. But if you get caught tugging on somebody's jersey and you just want to like marinate on that, then okay. But to me, there was so much more than just being caught tugging somebody's jersey. Because I'm going to show y'all, he got away with this. He got away with it twice. Well, he got away with it for sure in the first half. Let's go ahead and pull this up. Kian Fahey on the Elon app, a.k.a. Twitter. Pull this up here. Get the screen share back. Okay. So y'all see this here, right? It's not out the way. So let's go ahead and blow this up. Bradbury, right there. You see it. This is the first half. This is the first half. Okay? And then again, tugging the jersey. So that's twice in the first half. Tugging the jersey twice in the first half. So what if they call this here? Look at this. This is third down. So, you know, they didn't call it then. They missed it, whatever the case may be. Two separate times in the first half, he got away with it. But I'm supposed to be mad that he tried it a third time that we know of. Who knows how many more times he got away with it in the second half. But this is two times in the first half that Bradbury did it. So it wasn't some anomaly. This has nothing to do with Patrick Mahomes being the golden boy. This has nothing to do with that. Go back to the comments. Derby, what's the point of the game if you interfere when it matters? I mean, this to me is not interfering. If you want to say anything, this here could be interference because this happened on a third down. This happened on the third down when the Chiefs were down a score. They were down a touchdown already. They punt the ball. Eagles are on the way to potentially take a 21-7 lead. Then Hurts fumbles it away. So this play here that wasn't called could have shifted the dynamic of the entire Super Bowl. So instead of a 10-point lead, they could have been down 2 touchdowns because this wasn't called in the first half. Because this wasn't called in the first half. So I don't think you can get that off about how, the refs, you have to make the call that matters. This moment in the game mattered here too. It's 3rd and 8. You're down a touchdown already. The Eagles offense looks to be a machine in trucking a defense. This also was a moment that mattered. But they didn't get the call. So to me, I really don't have no energy or no stomach to hear about the officials costing the game, because if that's the case, this call was missed. This call coulda, shoulda, woulda been made, but wasn't. So, cool story, bro, but nah, because they had ample chances to make up for it. And this is why having people online being able to screen grab stuff like this is important, because this was an important moment. 2 important moments that were missed. And then even this guard, both guards false start. Look, they're rocking back. But Frank Clark gets called for offsides because he's reacting to the guards. But we're talking about Mahomes getting golden boy treatment. We're talking about the officials being in Patrick Mahomes' pocket because they're protecting him, projecting him up because he's the new golden boy because Brady is now gone, allegedly. So no, I don't want to hear that. I really don't want to hear that. I respect the comments. I respect, putting your thoughts out there, and then always chime in here. You can always get your takes off as long as we keep it respectful here. But nah, man. 2 guards are moving. 2 guards are moving. And yet Frank Clark, because he crossed the line of scrimmage, is called offsides. But y'all are telling me Mahomes gets a favorable whistle. So I don't know, man. Like, I get it, but not really. Like, we can really parse this if you want to about who got favorable calls and who didn't. We can really go there if y'all want. But both sides, calls are missed on both sides most games. Super Bowl is no different. Eagles got away with not only this, where Frank Clark was calling it, I believe this was a key down. I don't remember if this was a 3rd down or not, but this was a huge call. And then we have Bradbury, not once, but twice, tugging on the jersey. But because he got caught in the 4th quarter and he finally decided to throw it, I'm supposed to feel for Eagles fans? I'm supposed to be sad for Eagles fans? For what? They got away with it twice. And who knows how many times in the second half? If Bradbury thought he could get it off a 3rd time and was wrong, that's not on the officials. That's on him for going to the well one too many times. Like, no, I am not going to sit here and cop pleas for the Philadelphia Eagles defense that was supposed to be one of those. I was supposed to have this front line that was supposed to dominate the Chiefs' offensive line and couldn't get near 1 sack. No, I'm not here to cop pleas. Not at all. And let's talk about that Eagles defense that got Swiss cheesed up on the same play twice. Same play twice. They hit him with a jet sweep, a fake jet sweep twice. A play that apparently they saw the Eagles fall victim to against Jacksonville. Who coaches Jacksonville? Doug Peterson. Who did he coach and quarterback for? Andy Reid. Had that play in the tuck, decided to run it. Eric Bieniemy put it up on the board. They decided to run it. But they alter it because they said the Eagles defense has a propensity when they're in man coverage, when you send that guy in motion, they run after him to try to keep up and not to get outrun. So how do they thwart that? Now that they know that they have a tendency to do that, how do you attack that? Oh, we're just going to fake it. And they get the first one to Kadarius Toney. So you're like, all right, cool, we got him. But then they're like, yo, let's flip it and let's try it again. And then they get it again to Skylar Moore. No one made an adjustment. They didn't have that on the tablet after that touchdown. They didn't go over that play after the Kadarius Toney touchdown. They didn't go over there to the Microsoft Surface tablet and look at that play over and over and be like, all right, dogs, if they run this again, we got to understand it might get flipped. It might be a fake. They ran it back. What? That needs to be talked about. Not that Mahomes gets a magic whistle in the fourth quarter, not that he gets all these flags falling down from the sky when it matters most. Don't give me all of that. Tell me how the Eagles defense fell for the same play twice. All they did was swap out Kadarius Toney for Skylar Moore and flip the play. Same motion, same action, same formation. This team that's supposed to have all these D linemen that can get after it couldn't sniff Mahomes when it mattered most. Couldn't sniff Mahomes when it mattered most. Don't talk to me about no flags. They got beat. That D-line that had 8 dudes rotating in, that was swarming the entire season, led the league in sacks. Couldn't sniff Mahomes when it mattered most. Orlando Brown, journeyman that he is, holding it down on the edge. Rookie guards, rookie tackles, holding it down when it mattered most. All them sacks for what? Nothing. Absolutely nothing when it mattered most. That's what happened when it mattered most. That D-line that was supposed to dominate the trenches, 70 sacks, nada. Nada when it mattered most. Crazy, man. Ridiculous. Anyway, here in the comments, if you're new here, hit that like button, subscribe, tap in. I don't duck no smoke. I mean, you know, we feel for Jalen Hurts around these parts. There was a nasty tweet that went around insinuating that if you have a run-dominant quarterback in the Super Bowl, they've all lost. Again, ignoring the fact that, hello, Patrick Mahomes is also a running quarterback. So let's go ahead and pull that box score up, because I should have screenshotted that one so I could pull it up for y'all, because that one was really nasty. That one was really, really nasty. Football Reference. Let's go. Let's get this cracking. Do we have a Super Bowl box score? Wow, bottom of the page. All right, here we go. Here we go. About to say, page taking forever to load. All right, so Mahomes ran for 44 yards. Now, is that a lot per se for your average running quarterback? No, but the fact of the matter is that 26-yard run was the longest run for any Kansas City Chief. That was the longest run for any Kansas City Chief and the most important run for any Kansas City Chief. Jalen Hurts definitely did his thing. You see him here with 70 yards, 3 touchdowns, QB sneak him to death. But in regards to when it mattered most, no sacks, no interceptions, 44 yards, including a 26-yarder. It comes down to Jalen Hurts, 2 sacks, and that huge fumble for loss that led to touchdown for the Chiefs. So even though the 70 yards and the 3 TDs are what's being highlighted and what's being used to weaponize against him as a running quarterback, aka a black quarterback, no. We have another black quarterback that ran for 44 yards, threw for 3 touchdowns, had no interceptions, did not get sacked, and his QB rating was damn near perfect. That quarterback's now won 2 Super Bowls. But you're picking and choosing your stats to make a narrative to continue this trash narrative of how running quarterbacks can't win. I don't know about y'all, but I saw a dude with a high ankle sprain who re-aggravated that high ankle sprain run for 26 yards when it mattered most. Just because he ain't Mike Vick doesn't mean he's not a running quarterback. Just because he's not Justin Fields doesn't mean he's not a running quarterback. He is a dual threat quarterback. He may not run as much as y'all want him to or as the narrative allows him to, because he's so great at throwing the ball. Running is secondary. Whereas with this alleged narrative of running quarterbacks, they're more of a runner than a thrower. Hello, Lamar. Although that's a trash narrative. Mahomes is a running quarterback. He's just an elite throwing quarterback as well. Hence, dual threat. That's how dual threat works. I really would love someone to explain how to get caught on that jet sweep, that fake jet sweep. They hit him with the bootleg jet sweep twice, and they bit both times. They bit both times. And if you look at these numbers here, 1 turnover was the difference, right? That fumble, the Eagles could have went in up 21-7. Would have made it that much harder for the Chiefs to come back. Even though the Chiefs, as we brought up earlier, and I'll go back to the Edward tweet, because it's a perfect tweet that summarizes everything. If you're just here joining us, and if you are just joining us, do me a favor and hit that like button. I appreciate it. The Chiefs in the second half, 0 penalties, 0 turnovers, 0 punts, 0 sacks allowed, 1 incompletion. That was a throwaway. That's how perfect they had to be to come down from 10. Hurts doesn't fumble. They go in and get the touchdown that we assumed they would have anyway. Now they're up 21-7 going into the half. Change the whole complexity of the game, maybe even 24-7 into the half. So instead of down 10, maybe they're down 14. Maybe they're down 17 if that fumble doesn't happen. Hell, maybe they're down 28-7 and the route is on the way a lot of people thought. But none of that happened. But that's what it took. It took this type of performance in the second half to come back from 10 down, to squeak it out with a field goal at the end. So if that Eagles defense gets on that Microsoft Surface tablet and understands that they just got hit with a play that Doug Peterson hit them with in Jacksonville, then maybe they realize, oh, okay, well, the next time this happens, if they try to run this play again, this is how we're going to fight it. No, instead they do the same thing. They bite on the Kelsey action. 2 dudes run after Kelsey, and it leaves Kadarius Toney open once. They flip it and reverse it, and it opens up Skylar Murray wide open on the same exact play again a drive later. Make it make sense, because it doesn't to me. Time of possession. You outrun them. You control the clock for more than 11 more minutes. They only had to rock 8 minutes in the first half. We could do that math. They only had it for 16 minutes in the second half. That's still not a lot. But the Chiefs were able to run the ball on this Eagles defensive line, this defensive line that was highly thought of. Man, I don't know what y'all saw, but I know what I saw, and it was it left a lot to be desired for the Eagles defense. I'm not going to call them frauds. I'm not going to jump out the window and all of that, but Hassan Riddick, I mean, I'm surprised he has a stat line. And he was a guy that I've kind of picked on a little bit the entire year as I was doing these football kickbacks, only because when he provides pressure off the edge, their pressure just seemed to be maximized even more. Yes, he has that much of an impact when he's going. So as we got closer to the end of the regular season, I was like, yo, if Hassan Riddick elevates his play and plays at a high level, yeah, I can see this Eagles defense really being that top tier. And he showed flashes of it in the playoffs. But on the biggest stage, on the Super Bowl, I mean, 2 QB hits, I can't even recall those 2 hits, to keep it a buck with you. This was certainly a missed opportunity for the Philadelphia Eagles. And I don't know about y'all, but I've been talking about how they had the easiest schedule all year. I don't know who they have next year in terms of who they have scheduled. Let's see if we can figure that out real quick. Eagles 2023 schedule. Who's their scheduled opponents? Are we going to trust this site? All right, let's see if we can trust this site. All right, let's see. This is who they have. So they're coming off the easiest schedule last year. Rams, Patriots. Okay, so they play the AFC East, it appears, next year. And the NFC West. And they have a date against, so we will get a Super Bowl rematch. This is certainly not an easy schedule. They got the AFC East. AFC East is not for play. And if the Jets get Aaron Rodgers, if they get Aaron, yeah, I don't know about that. Philly, hey, I'm not saying one and done, because they certainly have a lot of talent. But in regards to easiest schedule in NFL, they don't have that next year. They're facing the AFC West, the NFC West. They get the Bucks in there. Bucks might be a layup. Vikings. Yeah, bruh. This. I'm not saying fade the Eagles next year. Not saying that, because they're clearly going to make some improvements, or at least we would assume so. But this schedule is not what it was this year. This year was the weakest schedule. That whole NFC East had the easiest schedule. It will not be that next year. So I don't know if they're going to run off as many dubs as they did. I don't know if they're going to get a little 13-3, 4. 14-3. I don't know if you're going to get that. I don't know if that. It won't be that easy. I can tell you that much. Because this schedule is tough. Off rip, the division games aside, your non-divisional games, even your non-conference games, you're facing the AFC West. So you have the Chiefs. Yeah, it's a tough schedule, dog. It's a tough schedule. I mean, Arizona, no Kyler Murray. 49ers, we don't know who's going to be quarterback. But the fact that you're facing the AFC East, that's where it's going to be a problem. Because the Dolphins with Tua, still a problem. Bills with Josh Allen, still a problem. Patriots, that might be, but Belichick, he could scheme something up. You never know. And then you got the Jets. If they get Aaron, good luck with that. Good luck with that. So the Eagles got some things to figure out. They won't have an easy schedule to rely on. So what do the Eagles need to fix? Miles Sanders is a free agent, I believe, right? Miles Sanders is a free agent. You're bringing him back? He barely got love in the game. He barely got love in the game. And that's been a thing that the play calling Sirianni and them have tricked off a lot is they have a propensity to go away from the run game. And I know you love Jalen Hurts on the QB draws and especially short yardage, but Miles Sanders getting tied for carries with Kenneth Gainwell. If I'm Miles Sanders, I don't like that. Like 7 touches. Like, if you give Lamar Jackson a running back as good as Miles Sanders, and they've had some good running backs in Baltimore, so there's no shade. But if you give him the type of offensive line that the Eagles have, and also the type of running backs and receivers that Jalen Hurts has, Lamar Jackson does not want to be running the ball 15 times. And I'm not saying Jalen Hurts should want to run the rock 15 times, but I can understand if he's like, yeah, keep giving me the rock. But if I got A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert, and Miles Sanders, I should not be running the ball 15 times. But I understand he's a weapon. I'm saying, when are you just going to allow him to become a quarterback? Dual threat. But you got to have dual of those. So you got to be able to allow him to run and still allow him to throw. And I don't think, even though 38 attempts, I didn't like a lot of the routes. You see the targets here. Devonta Smith, 9 targets. A.J. Brown, 8 targets and a tutty. I didn't like the way Dallas Goedert 7. So in theory, these numbers look like the Eagles offense was moving the way it wanted to. And at times it was, but in that second half, no, it wasn't. Can't we parse this by, let's see. We used to be able to do that. I don't think we could parse this by halves. We used to be able to. Drives. Second half. So second half, both teams have 4 possessions. Chiefs only had 8 possessions the entire game. That's so crazy. 8 possessions the entire game. Wow. And you just see the time of possession. 4 minutes, 7 minutes, 7 minutes, 4 minutes. Compared to the Chiefs, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute, 58 seconds. Like, come on. It's a lot here. It's a lot here. It was a good game. Despite the back and forth, despite some of the controversy that people are trying to put up, and I appreciate y'all that put up to the comments. About to wrap this up. I just feel like the essence of Mahomes, the ascension of Mahomes, and he hasn't even reached his final form yet. He hasn't even reached his final form yet. And I think when it comes down to it, this is going to be the one that begins to separate him from the pack. He got his one early. I still think that was primarily because of him, that chip. This isn't a Brady thing where it's because of the defense and the coaching and all that. That was still because of him, in large part because of him. But this one with no Tyreek Hill, with the high ankle sprain and then re-aggravating the ankle sprain in regards to dealing with a not having Tyreek Hill, having a Valdez-Scantling, a Juju. I mean, come on, dogs. Like, do you see these weapons? These weapons aren't other teams' favorite weapons. Like, these are cast-offs. These are cast-offs that Mahomes just goes out here and puts up efficient numbers. Like, that was another thing. Mahomes was efficient in his production. 21 of 27. Didn't even throw for 200 yards. Patrick Mahomes in a Super Bowl and a winning performance doesn't even throw for 200 yards, but he has 3 touchdowns and he ran for 44 yards, including a humongous 26-yarder. I mean, those are the things. It's not always about stats. Sometimes we get caught up in the gaudiness of stats, but 21 of 27, 182 yards and 3 touchdowns. That was done by the best player in the sport last night. Not just the best quarterback, the best player in the sport. He is him. I think we'll wrap there because I mean we began talking about Patrick Mahomes. We should end talking about Patrick Mahomes. I am the Sam D. If you appreciated this content, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. I do live streams on sports every week. Now that NFL is done, I'll be moving over to NBA and giving you my commentary on NBA. We've already been doing that with the trade deadline, with the Kyrie trade. We came in, did a big live stream on that. So if you want to catch the replay of that or any of the football kickbacks, they're in the live tab of the Sam D YouTube channel. So I appreciate all those who have checked in throughout the football season. I'll be back again next football season. You can believe that. I'll pop in during free agency. I'll pop in for sure during the draft, first round. I don't know about all the other rounds, but first round for sure. We might do some reaction stuff around that. But free agency is upon us in terms of the NFL. Then we got the draft. I already have some draft content already out on the page, so you can check for that. But in regards to the NBA, hey, if you're into NBA, that's my bread and butter according to some. I think I got all sports on lock, but NBA has been known to be my forte. So we're going to be definitely getting into that. The All-Star game is coming up since the trade deadline is finished. So there's a lot to get into. There's a lot of stuff to break down. I do a weekly podcast called the CMD Podcast. It drops weekly on wherever you listen to podcasts, Apple, Spotify, all that good stuff. So the link for that is in the podcast description. And I appreciate you tapping in. This is something I try to do weekly, and I might be ramping up to do this daily. So if you like the content, I'm going to be bringing more production value. This is just me kind of, seeing what this software using Ecamm Live can do, what it's capable of, and what my bandwidth is of being able to control all of this stuff. So appreciate y'all tapping in, whether you catched it live or you're catching on the replay. Hit that like button, hit that sub button, and I'll catch y'all again very soon. Peace.